Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we're going to be giving you the results and answers to our free-to-play questionnaire that we ended up putting out a number of days ago. We ended up getting 63 responses, which I'm pretty happy with so far. We have analytics tab that we're going to show you here in a moment. And I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone that, of course, I'm not going to show any names as we talked about in the previous video. Those are really just for me in case I want to reach out to the individuals and ask some questions or some follow-ups. But this is something that I'm sure people are going to be interested in, and I can't wait to show you the results. I haven't even looked at anything yet. All I've really checked on periodically is just how many people were filling out the form. So let's go ahead and dive into the goods. Okay, starting top down. What power range do you fall in? All right, so we wanted to ask the respondents a range, and you could see we have one person that was under 5 mil. We ended up having 5 in that 5 to 10 mil range. Orange, we have 3 in 10 to 15. Green, we had 7 in that 15 to 20 range. The second, or one of the largest, right, we had 11 in the 20 to 25 mil range, and then tied at 12 apiece between 25 and 35 million. A decent amount, 7 between 35 and 40. We had 3 between 40 and 45. And then we had 2 people that were 50 mil plus as free to play. Okay, then the next question, of course, which is how long have you been playing COD, right? Bear in mind the game hasn't been out a year yet, even if you factor in, or I guess we should say, right, because August technically, which we'd have to go to our history thing that I'm forgetting now, but I guess there is technically the chance if you're going beyond global for people that were playing earlier than that, right? So, but you could see, if we go to blue, right, some people a month, some of the big pieces, we got 6 here that have been playing for 6 months. The biggest piece, we have 20 people who've been playing for 10 months, and then we have 14 people who've been playing for a year or longer. And again, that usually, if you've been playing for 10 months, that pretty much indicates around global release shortly after. Those that were playing 11 and 12 would indicate they were in beta. Then we get to the next one, which is for alliances you have played in, what is the average spending level that you notice for the season when it comes to gold chests? So again, about how many gold chests are you estimating you may have seen per season, right? And again, this is ranging anywhere from none to unsure, right? Because we did want to give people that option, right? In order to make sure the data was pretty relevant, because you are going to have some people that keep track of that, or they pay closer attention to it than others do. So we have pretty much about a third that make up the none to unsure, and then the other 2/3 makes up a different piece of the pie. So we went all the way up to here, right? So it goes from 1 all the way up to 500. You could see we have 4 people that fell in the 1 to 10 gold chest per season camp. We have 5 that 10 to 25. 5 people, 8%, 25 to 50. 3 people, 50 to 70. 3 people, 75 to 100. We have 5 people, 100 to 150. We have 4 in the 150 to 200 range, 2 people 200 to 300, 4 people in 400 to 500, and then we have 5 people that said that they might have got more than 500 plus gold chests. And we're talking throughout the course of a season, right? The average 2 months that you're seeing. One of the things I just thought of too as well is that next time I think I'm going to ask what alliances these people played in or something. I mean, there's other questions I can ask, and I can always reach out to them and get those particulars. But that's a pretty wide range, right? Where you see, a decent amount. And bear in mind, we did get 63 people. Only 2/3 of those did answer this particular question. But still, to see there being a range from free to play that we're able to get, I mean, this is a really nice chart if you think about the diversity of responses we got for this one. And it wasn't just wholly towards one end of the spectrum or the other. Then we go to the next one. What was or is an estimate for your power at 3 months? So some people were saying at 3 months, and bear in mind, this is at free to play. You're seeing some people saying that they were able to get, and this seems a little rough to me, right? I mean, you're saying what was or is an estimate for your power at 3 months. I mean, that, I don't think anyone was 50 mil. Let's be honest. So part of me feels like maybe I should have put the free-to-play thing in here, like what was or is an estimate for your power at 3 months in as a free-to-play, even though this is a free-to-play form. So, again, I'm sure maybe there could have been a couple people that maybe were not free-to-play that filled this out. There's always that possibility, but the hope is everyone did. So, if I'm assuming that, then it's probably just the question. So, I think this is more likely, right? I think this, if you're looking at these chunks, right? For like, where were you as a free-to-play? I think these big portions here that make up the majority of it are more likely. Now, again, could maybe they have been 15 to 20 mil as a free-to-play at the end of arguably the first season going in to the second season, right? Maybe if they were in a really high, that they were in a really high spending alliance, okay, maybe. That's something I probably would want to talk to them on. I just think these three are more likely, right? If you're looking at kind of the average higher end at that 10 to 15, I don't know if this 15 to 20 mil is maybe out of the realm completely. I'd have to talk to some of those people there and see, kind of what their experience was. And was it just that they were in a very high spending alliance and getting that amount of gold chest just really helped kind of boost them up, maybe a couple more million to that point. Then we look at, okay, so what was or is an estimate for your power at 6 months? Right? And bear in mind, right, this is for free-to-play people. So now you're seeing the ranges a little bit more closer. So we're kind of doubling that. And I think this is pretty accurate, right? You're seeing a little bit more of the portion. So 15 to 20 mil, right, was originally 6% or 10% at 6 people. Now you're seeing that increase by more than double, and we're at 26.2%, making the biggest group. So I think that's a little bit more in line as free-to-play. I think these are closer. I think the 10 to 15, I think like the 10 to 20 mil, 15 to 20 mil is a little bit closer. Do I think some people probably fell in that 20 to 25 mil? I'm sure. Maybe the 25 to 30 mil, I think that is a little bit more kind of like this one, right, with the 15 to 20 at 3 months. That's something where, yeah, maybe did that just come down to higher spending alliances? That is, and the challenge with obviously any kind of questionnaire like this is, the only way that I could truly vet it would be I'd have to reach out to the individuals, get screenshots of their accounts showing that they still have the Lilia banner. Then I'd have to ask them for an email, and then I'd have to send them the form, right? If I really wanted to do additional vetting, right? So I think most of it we're just kind of going off of an honor system that hopefully the people are doing it in this way. Now, I think some free-to-play might think, hey, that's kind of hard to do. I think part of it depends. I think there's two factors here. One, how much do you grind? As in, are you doing every single event? Are you maximizing every single event? And then two, right, what's the level of alliance that you're in when it comes to how many additional rewards can you get? And then I guess the third one really is, right, how much spending is happening, right? So how many gold chests and how many overall chests are you getting out of that alliance, right? Are you getting resources that are shared with you as well? If you're capped, that's probably number 4. So I think there's a couple factors that go into that. And then the last one is, what is an estimate for your power at 12 months, right? And so this is where we start getting into some of those, right? Where you have some people here that are, 50 to 55 mil, 45, 40 to 45. Now you're getting a bigger piece of people that are at 25 mil plus, right, for where they're at 12 months. And I think this is likely. I think the 25 to 35 mil at 12 months, right, I think this is more of an average on where you can be at, with the 35 to 45 mil range, probably at more higher activity, probably mid-spending alliance, give or take. And then, right, you could say mid to high spending is probably nice to kind of work you in there. And then you have, again, the 55, right? Someone says they're at 60 mil plus as a free-to-play. I'd have to go and vet those accounts to see if that's the case. But I would imagine that's probably like you being in a TFS in a war or something like that, or basically playing in high-spending alliances from day one, right? Or from an early kingdom, right? Probably in somewhere in the beta kingdoms, and you just were able to kind of go from high-spending to high-spending alliance. Then we get to some of the more appetite-based questions, which is if you were in an alliance that never bought chests, spent money, what would you estimate your power at 6 months, right? And this is where we're kind of asking, where do you really think you would be if you didn't have anyone that spent anything, you had 6 months of time in the game? And this is more of if people are really paying close attention to the amount that they're spending. And I think this is pretty accurate at 6 months, right? So if we look at 6 months here, you can see the big chunks are at the 10 to 20 mil range. If we compare that with 6 months here at 10 to 20 mil, you can see that the majority here are at 15 to 25. So if you take away the spending, okay, do you average a couple mil up to maybe 5 mil, give or take, right? If it's mid-high spending alliances, over that course of time, it's interesting when you look at the parallels there or the comparisons. And then we ask the same thing, right? If same situation, but what if this was at 12 months? So then we say, okay, so now you're at 12 months. Right? And then you see bulk of this is now around here, 20 to 35 million. I think that's safe to say that could be done a year in. But does that mean that you're probably more low mid spending, and then once you kind of get your way up here like this 30 to 35 range, give or take, maybe you're now mid to high spending, right? Obviously, those are the types of things we would have had to ask to kind of dive more into that. But I still think the data is interesting. And then you see like there's a few people here that went up. And then we ask, okay, how long did it take, or do you estimate it will take to hit T5 at your current rate of play? And so we broke this down into 9 to 12 months, a year, 1.5 years, 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, and 3 years plus. So the majority of people think that they'll be able to hit T5 in a year and a half, right? You see 30%, almost a third of the chart at 19 people. Next biggest, people think it's going to take them 2 years, and the next 2.5. You have a number of them at 3, and then some people saying 3 years plus. Now, I personally think the 1.5 to 2 years is average, right? For how long it's going to take you. Now, do I think some people can do it in a year? Less than a year? I don't know. That's rough. I'd have to talk to some free-to-plays and see where they're at. I'd also have to see if there's any free-to-plays that are specifically at T5 and how long it's taken them, because that would be interesting to know. And so that's why, I'll probably reach out to some people that are on the higher levels, because I'll be able to see the individuals who asked. And those are some questions I want to ask, because I think it'd be great to know. Okay, now, how hard is it for a free-to-play to get into a or the top alliance in your kingdom? And I thought this was a nice question to ask, even though it doesn't really tell us everything. But I think it gives us a little bit more of a clear direction on, again, and this is kind of knowing what we may or less already know. If you're trying to get into a top alliance or the top alliance, bear in mind, in a kingdom, there's always going to be a number of spenders that are in those alliances, and usually it's a higher percentage than there are for lower ranked alliances. But you can see most of the people on the spectrum lean towards a lower rate. There are some people that, again, you could see here, 11% said a 10, that they were able to easily get into a top or high spending alliance. And bear in mind, we don't know when this was asked. That's the other thing. We don't know when they applied. So that's the other thing to take in consideration, is that did they apply to the alliance or get into the alliance early on? Did they get into the alliance after it was already established? Now that I think about it, I don't want to say the question is somewhat skewed, but I just don't know if there's enough context around the question when I asked it in this way to where it's really kind of giving us the answer that, or at least some useful data, so to speak, right, that we were looking for more as I think about this more now. Next one. What has been your troop focus as a free-to-play? Okay, so we have, and this is interesting, so 24% say archers, 32% say mages, and then we have 16% a mix of 2 units. So really interesting that you're seeing free-to-play trending. And again, for those of us that have played for a while, we know that if you're free-to-play, you have a lot more adaptability and fluidity as running ranged versus running, cav and or infantry. And so, I think more so the archers, the range, maybe some of the flying units, and then you see mix of 2. I think that's pretty clear, right? The next biggest pie was 8%. 5 people said I focus on all troops. And that means that you're using all the troops out in the field, right? So I think it's pretty obvious. And we obviously have a mix of 3 at 3%, and then flying right at 3% as well. And you can see the lowest being infantry, and then a mix of 4 units, right? Next one. And I'm going to read some of these as well. I'm realizing now that I'm going to see if I think what I might end up doing is make a copy. And that actually probably would have been an interesting thing to do on this one. I'm going to see if I'm able to make a copy of this and maybe just remove the questions that we asked about the names and then potentially just make this public. If I'm able to do that, and if I'm able to figure that out, I'll put a link in the description, pin comment. If not, I'm going to try to do that the next time around. And that's just because I'm already recording. If focusing on one or a few troops, why is it important to do that compared to focusing on all as a free-to-play? This is usually where you would need a little bit more of an explanation. So, something like mage, obviously isn't really giving us anything to kind of go off of. Having a large amount of troops, for me, 1 million Satyr Witches allows me to refresh the same troop type several times and field 2 marches. Okay, makes sense. Because you just don't have the resources to spend the wheels every time and get hero skill ups. Because I simply will not be able to manage all or make all as strong as to be effective. After all, 1 strong march is better than 5 shiitake mushroom ones. Celestials can be used as both a mage march or flying march. Okay. And then we have mages are really the only viable option for free-to-play in large-scale war. You need to rely on their long range and try not to be directed attacked. Excuse me, try not to be directly attacked, as well as use their AoE as best as possible. Archers get melted because of their smaller range, do not do enough damage to make them worth as T4s versus T5s. Infantry of a low T4 disappears in 2 seconds after it gets targeted, so also not an option in Cav, just not useful overall in large-scale war. Very hard to get gold tokens to max legendary heroes. You need a lot of them. Best to focus on one hero to do it. You have to be focused on specific troops, otherwise you will become cannon fodder to T5, specifically when you're in a strong alliance. I need more mages celestials since that's what I normally use in battle, resources and speed ups, which again, that's not really an answer to the question because I don't get enough speed ups or resources to have decent troops on all for several reasons. Or sorry, I guess that is actually, because I did ask, sorry, I was looking at this one up here, and this one says, if focusing, why is it important compared to doing all? So yeah, that actually makes sense. Excuse me. And then for several reasons, such as hero stones, or for scales and artifacts, which are quite random from chests, so it is not possible to level them all at one time. Because if you focus on every unit, it will decrease your overall progress. All goes to 1. Maxing heroes, because you probably never have your main heroes fatigued as free-to-play player, especially while fighting versus T5. And because the upgrades of the research of the specific type of troop later on are getting a lot longer, it's more convenient to focus on one type to be as close as possible to the damage tankiness of the troop type of T5. Okay. Let's read some else. What heroes and pairings have you been focusing on as a free-to-play? So we have Velm plus Waldir, Alwyn plus Atheist for PvP, also Sindrian plus Fager for Behemoths. We have Waldir, Velm, Nico, Kanara, Nico and Guan and Craig till I get my Kanara, Evelyn and Waldir. We have Veln, and this is probably Veln, Waldir. Veln, Waldir, Kanara, Frager, Emrys Bakshi, Thea Atheist, Madeline, Nika. So again, right, the free-to-play Sindrian, Frager, Frager, Sindrian, Kanara, Nika. We have Waldir, Veln. I'd like to get Bertrand. Waldir, Nico, Guan, Emrys Bakshi. Veln plus some epic mages, only Kanara, Guan since I start to play, close to Awakener now. Indus and Veln, Waldir, Lilia, Thea. Nico Kanara, Waldir Van, Sindrian Frager, Waldir, Atheist Valn, Nico Guanwin, Lilia Valn. Well, that wouldn't count because you'd have to spend for her. Garwood, Nico Kanara, Waldir Van, waiting on new mages, saving up heads for them. Veln Thea, Nico Garwood, Veln Alwyn. So just to kind of give you some examples, right? Okay, here we go. What artifacts do you focus on as free to play? So just so you know, this took a long time to put this together. And I hope people appreciate this because I had to sit here and type out every single one that you can see, right? And the ones that are E's and L's, I only included the epics and legendaries for this, right? So, this is interesting. What artifacts do you focus on as a free-to-play? There are some clear winners here. Phoenix Eye, Shadow Blades. Shadow Blades comes in top, right, getting 52.4% of the vote. 33. Next is 49.2% of the vote at 31, Phoenix Eye. Third, Magic Bomb, which is an epic. So 2 legendaries, then we get to the epic at third, which again, we see a lot of magic bombs or time bombs out on the field. 47.6% at 30. Next one is 19, Fang of Ashkari, legendary. 30.2% of the vote. And then we end up seeing at 28.6% of the vote, 18 Tear of Arbin, right? And again, that's where we're seeing, that's the healing artifact. So we're seeing a lot of those being used. That kind of rounds out your top 5. However, honorable mentions would be Heart Piercer, epic, right? 27%. Then we have Sorlin's Blade, 15%, or sorry, 23.8% at 15 votes. And then we see, 12, 12, 15, 12. Yeah. And then it's, if we look at the 12s, where was that? Kingslayer, 12 votes, right? So 19%. And then we see, and I think it's 9, 9. Yeah, pretty much it at that point, right? So you see Bomb Flinger was at 9, and then there's an 8 there. Yeah. So kind of rounds that out. So interesting to see that that's really where you see a lot of the free-to-play are valuing, right, a lot of the artifacts in. Okay, cool. Let's go here. Where do you want your account to be when you fight in the open field, right? And so, and this was just kind of a general question that I wanted to ask, which is, at what point essentially do you feel comfortable, And I may consider maybe asking this in a question form, but this I thought would just be interesting. So you see, I will fight anytime regardless of tier unlocked. You could see 47.6%. Everyone else, which is the majority, wanted to be at a certain stage before they started fighting. So you could see the next biggest chunk is that people just want to have tier 4 unlocked, right, before they start. And then you see 11.1% wanted at least T3 unlocked. And then the next biggest one is you had 4 people at 6.3% wanted T5 unlocked. And then obviously it just kind of gets more additional, right? The next one here, you had 2 people that said, I want to be T5, 10 heroes, and 5 artifacts awakened, right? So they kind of want to be almost max, at least on the hero and artifact scale, before they consider fighting. And it just goes to show you that some people think this way. I very much am of that opinion where if I'm going to fight out in the open field against marches, this does not account for going out and building, destroying flags, keeps, barricades, turrets, right? Doing those things that you can allow for the people that are going to fight out in more of the PvP open field, then don't need to sit there on those flags and turrets and barricades, right? You can let the other people do that. And then the people that really wanted that are already ready and prepared to go out and fight, they can do that. It actually helps to alleviate and save you not only time, but manpower being used in certain areas. But it just goes to show you that there are some people that view it things like this. I very much am of a similar way. Like my view is, yeah, okay, could I go out and fight at T4? Yeah, I could. Would I rather wait until I have T5 and then go out and fight? Yeah, probably. You know? Would I rather be in a situation where I have 5 heroes, where I have 10 heroes awakened and 5 artifacts awakened before I go and fight? Yeah, I would. Why? Because I would rather take less overall losses when I'm actually deciding to go out and fight in the field. I just would. Some people may share that sentiment. Other people may not. That's okay. And so anyways, it kind of just takes me back to like my no rush Age of Empires days for anyone who played like custom games, or if you've ever played custom RTS games. It's like no rush where you basically like develop for 30 or 40, 45 minutes and then you go out and fight it all out. It's very reminiscent of that. Okay, what do you spend gems on? And is there a priority order you recommend? So this is interesting. So you have free-to-play people that will spend gems on wheels. Some people will spend it on speed-ups. I spend gems on the Wheel of Destiny, 50% off tickets, to try to unlock the TSL heroes. I also spend 100 gems on the weekly refresh in the merit shop. Really important to grab that elixir. Okay. Other than that, I mostly just arrows treaties. I currently have 100k gems saved up. Okay. I am saving gems for some wheels to get rid of my purple heroes, and then after that, I will spend them on Goblin Market speed-ups, Rally, Beacon, and Watchtower. Okay. I did my second builder, then VIP till 8. Then I save gems up for wheels and artifact compendium in season 9. This is nice because this kind of gives us, I think, more of a realistic order that you would go through. Second builder, so you could have 2 queues going. VIP 8, which I'm assuming so you can get the second research unlocked. I spent on 8-hour speed-ups, 10 rolls and lucky spin anytime you can for the chest, buying 8-hour speed-ups in VIP store and cry until you get enough books and arrows to level that shiitake mushrooms up to 25 because you'll never get enough gems. Lucky spin. Level 25 building upgrade books. Yeah, I mean, that is somewhat needed unless you want to stall that off. Treaty, arrows, new hero artifacts when they're crucial. And then here we go, another one that says second builder, VIP 8, wheel spins, treaties, and arrows. That's very similar to one we heard above. Unless they have fixed that, maybe in the latest patch. Goblin Market VIP shop, VIP rank till 8. Migration, I don't know if I'd consider that. Fortune wheel, level 25 building upgrade. Okay. New heroes, maybe VIP to level 8 for research. Wheel to get new hero, upgrade the meta heroes. Treaties and arrows, VIP 8, compendium. Treaties and arrows, lucky spin. He said level 10 reward, 8-hour speed ups on VIP store. Okay. 8 hours. Because it depends if you have a source of gems to get like a high amount of chests from bot bundles, from your alliance mates, if you can spend low amount to get the lowest tier gift. I mean, again, remember, this is free to play. You shouldn't be spending money. I always spent in Lucky Spin Ticket and some in Treaty. Okay, then we have... Okay, this is nice. This is kind of like a little bit more of an order. Get second... And that's formatted, I should say. Get second builder first, then VIP 8. Spend on the lucky wheel to get to 10. No more, no less. Always keep it at least 4,900 gems, which is 7 tokens. I like that, because this is like the second or third time we've heard that. Compendium is a scam. Wheel of Destiny to try and get Sentry and another SLE. Only heroes. Save, and as you gain experience, you discover what you want to spend gems on. Wheel for hero tokens. Awakening First Hero Max, Speed Ups, Wheel of Fortune, buy book for Rally Tower, items that can only be acquired through trade of gems, VIP second builder, I spend gems on VIP, second queue and research, I will start focusing on gems, Tower Beacon. Okay. Here we go. What is important to do every day? We're almost done. Every day, and or advice you have for free-to-play players. League selection. Stick to League of Order, at least for now, that when there's only 3 factions. Having Satyr Witches to boost your allies' attack is very nice, but not having a flying unit restricts you from participating in a lot of different types of PvP. Maximize activity. Never allow your CP bar to fill up. Try your best to gather 1k gems a week. Maximize participation in any event that doesn't require using speed ups. Make a redacted account to farm and redacted resources to yourself. Don't get discouraged when facing stronger opponents. Instead, learn to fight with and support the stronger members in your alliance. Complete the quest, train troops, never have an empty hospital. When in war, spend CP and do the events. Spend CP, spend all elixir, trading or fighting, daily missions, weekly missions. Don't leave any building or research or policies open. Try to attend and finish any events you can. Do all possible behemoths and be very active. Please try to gather those 1k weekly gems if possible, and none stop grinding resources. And none stop grinding resources. Dark Forts. Okay. Cry yourself to sleep looking at all the bad trades you got that day. You do it all. Farm gems. Never let your CP get full. Join as big of an alliance as you can. Get as many merits as you can so you could buy in the store, and you will get into a bigger alliance. Day quest. Gather resources. Farming resources and darklings as much as you can. Farm. This is all about your resource, because at the point where T4 opens, then it is a matter of time and resources, which very much also applies to buildings at level 23 and above. Do your daily quest. Spend CP. Mine gems. I like how we're seeing quite a number of free-to-plays that are saying, hey, they do mine gems. And I think we've already seen 2 that say, hey, mine at least to 1,000 gems. Obviously, because then after that, right, the rate collection or gathering reduction kicks in. Or increase, we should say. Then before going for 1 to 5 hours, AFK send farmers. Forts now, forts tomorrow, forts forever. Is this a Hunger Games quote that we're getting? Farm a lot of resources, try and participate in all the events, must log in every day, stay safe and avoid your city getting rally quests and trade merits. Farm gems if you are in a fighting alliance, fight so you won't get kicked, and beside from fighting later on in the season, you can get quite good of speed ups, good amount of speed ups from your merit house. Spend CP and take CP mana stone is the secret, and join the big alliance is key. Oh, this is nice. I like how we're getting a list here. I appreciate the formats. Spend all stamina, send gatherers out as often as you can. The more resources you're gathering, the easier time it'll take. Get your 1,000 gems a week. That's nice to hear that now for another time. Buy everything in the goblin market that costs resources. Focus on mages or archers. We're going to be stuck at T4 for a while, so infantry and cav are going to be melted in my opinion. I've had success with archers and mages, primarily archers because of Sindri and Frager. Research is fairly simple. You want to get to T4 as quick as possible. And also focus the building and research speed in the economic tree. Efficiency. Time when your upgrades and troop training is going to finish and be able to have them going constantly. Save speed ups. You have 2, in my opinion, smart options. Use speed ups for events and get the rewards from them, and save otherwise only using to make sure your troop training is constantly going. Save and try to compete for the top spot in leaderboards for some events. It was not much, but I was able to get number 7 in SLE in Season 1, mainly because my server was in the middle of war and I had just unlocked T4, so I used all my speed ups. Yeah, I will say this with respect. As free-to-play, you should never try and push SLE. And that's mainly because there's a number of other events that will give you better overall ROE, or return on investment, for what you're going to spend on. And I say that because SLE is a spender event, right? You can see here in this person's comment in that they were able to place well because the server was in the middle of the war, so maybe they weren't focusing too much on pushing for the event or really having time to because they were preoccupied. Not every home kingdom or starting kingdom is going to be like that. So it's really just more about playing the percentages out. Unless for some reason there's an overwhelming amount of free-to-play that are like, yeah, let me spend all my stuff on this event, and everyone's advocating for it, I'd love to see that. This has just never been something that I would really ever push. I just want to see if there's any other formatted posts. Here we go. This is the ones I probably should be looking for too, right? So we have always level up your heroes, always empty your CP, join rallies, always check out mail, don't ignore them, most important, try to get as far as you can in Dragon Trails, check if you have done your events, always send your troops for gathering, use your gems wisely, don't waste them, always cap your RSS, don't let them fall below 20 mil, always train your troops, run research, let your policies run, click on help button, be grateful towards others. Okay, nice. Focus on 3 to 4 heroes. That's nice. Always finish events. Hoard the speed ups until L-stones. Join big alliances. Join other alliances. We got a few here. Okay. So here we go. Let's go to the next one, which is All right. I don't know how to get that out. Okay. What are the things you love about being a free-to-play? Just come on, man. The first two are none and nothing? You guys, man. Okay, the community in these types of games is the reason why most people play. As a free-to-play player, you get to enjoy the community without any regret for money spent to keep up with the power creep. I decided not to spend any money in Call of Dragons because in other kingdom builders I spent a considerable amount of money, but I didn't enjoy the feeling of spending money just to get crushed by someone who spent more. To be honest, I don't like it much. Come on, man. I have the next question, which is the biggest obstacles. You had to see this one. Can we get some love? Not having to stay with an alliance or account I don't like or don't want to be in, can just switch as all I have spent on it is time. Okay. I mean, that is technically one. Being an alliance leader, I started playing at Server 2 Beta. I enjoy playing with players. I now recently made an alliance in Server 320. It's now Top 1 Alliance and trying to unite an entire server. I like how we destroyed an entire server during beta. I just want to point this out. I really appreciate this person who admitted something that I experienced in Kingdom 2, which when there was all that stuff going on, for those of you that remember like the whole TA situation that they got formed there in Kingdom 2, and I'm forgetting the alliances they were going in, but we played in Kingdom 2 as kind of a test, and we were one of the alliances that pretty much got ran over as a couple of the alliances were basically working their way all the way around the map to try and fight TA in Zone 1 before I think this was Zone 2 open, and the entire time, not the entire time, but I'll just say there was a number of people, not everyone, but a number of people that did not admit that they were doing this. And so this is refreshing. I'm going to find out who this was and message them on Discord and say thank you for your candor. We appreciate your candor. So anyways, learning from past mistakes, key thing I know now is that we can have more than 10K accounts in a new server, which an old migration limit is 450. So if we can have a solid max server, it will be interesting. Really like this person's approach. I'll come back when I get an answer. You guys are dicks, man. It sucks not wasting money. Everyone else subsidizes my gaming. I mean, you guys are killing me right now. Nothing, not losing money. Okay. I'm not sure because every day I just kill Darklings, pet gacha, and farming. If you want to have fun, it's only when the battle comes, and when it's against T5s, it becomes no fun. LMAO. That I can switch servers? None. I want to be a big whale. No fun. Unfortunately not, especially when fighting in the top tier alliances, because in the battlefield everyone gets smoked that didn't spend money on this game. There's a special place for free-to-play in the community. All right. Being free-to-play when in a clan that spends upward of 100 USD is enjoyable. You still have to invest a bunch of time into the game, but very rewarding. Outperforming spenders and behemoth raids with my archers is fun. Saying that you're free-to-play. Do you love being about free-to-play? Okay. Love Wargame. It feels very rewarding if you achieve a max zero because it requires more effort. Okay, I like that. I'm free to play but can fight with spenders knowing that what I achieved I did through skill and careful planning rather than buying advantages. You can jump server anytime. When I open a game, I send my log Legion to gather resources, collecting chests, but one thing I love most is so many people around the world talk to each other as friends and make a lot of friends around the world, right? The community aspect. I can walk away from the game anytime I want, Feeling that I did everything myself, just being able to kill Spender and letting them know they were killed by free-to-play is the best feeling ever. I'm done. That's why I spend a lot of gems on TP to run away. I don't know saving money. You can really enjoy the game. Nothing else challenges and free-to-play is fun overall. Maybe bragging about it. Okay. So here we go. What are the biggest obstacles or challenges as free-to-play? And you can see we're almost done, right? This is the second to last question. So biggest obstacles or challenges is free-to-play. T5. The biggest challenge for free-to-play is free-to-play players honestly being lucky to join a good group that's recruiting. The snowball effect in this game is very real, and I estimate that without being in a strong alliance with excellent leadership, I would probably have around 10 million less power. Interesting. Another challenge is obviously burnout. Not to not experience this, you should try to stay involved with the community. As if you're having fun socializing, you won't notice that you're taking 60k sevs from T5's artifact. Fighting players with T.4 or 2.5. I never got any complete positive report this season. I always take bad trades and the artifacts are way too crazy against me. Fighting against almost everyone and getting heroes that are specific to TSL only. I am in S1, so fighting is okay, but later when I get to later seasons, a lot more T5 will be there, so I will get deleted easily. When there are toxic T5 players who are unreliable and unreasonable, books and arrows, I would imagine that's everyone's crux. Counterattack damage, getting gem to upgrade treating arrow, yep. You literally suck compared to everyone else. It's like playing a sports game and you have the worst team. Oh, jeez. Awaken legendary heroes, legendary artifact T5. Yeah, not being able to be in an alliance that spends staying in a secondary alliance. There are many things in this, such as combat power and time issues and accelerating the increase in strength. Early start in SL. Artifacts are hard to get. Tokens are hard too. And treaties and arrows, yep. Fighting at T5. Get T5, fight T5. The difference between T5 and T4. Legendary token is biggest challenge. Make sure always finish small quests for gold token. Everything. The only equalizer for free to play is activity and the time you're able to spend on the game. I've easily spent upwards of 200 hours on the game, and that's being conservative in my estimate. You have to send your gatherers out. You have to spend all your stamina. You have to get merits as often as you can, and you have to be in a clan that spends. Everything is designed for spenders, and the power disparity becomes larger each season. I would argue that that's true only for the first couple seasons, right? Once you start getting to, because you have to think about it, right? If a season on average lasts 2.5 months, once you get to like season 8, 9, 10, I shouldn't say the first few. I should say more than the first few, but like once you get, I would imagine, to like 7, 8, 9, 10, right at that point you're like a year plus, starting to get to a year and a half. If you're consistently playing and grinding as a free-to-play, right, you will start to close the gap. I'm not saying you're going to close it a lot, but inch by inch, right, it will start to close, if you want to say bit by bit. Growing in power. Enemy is tier 5. Researches take too much time. You'll never be able to go against strong fighter because you can't compete with spenders. They just buy what you have and more to grind for you. It's very demotivating to keep going if you want to be good. I think the most important thing is that it just takes too much time. I think this person really just hit it right on, is that getting to T5, it just takes too long. And the thing to understand is that if you want the game, and I'm going to do another video on this to be separate, but that if they just shorten the amount of time that it took to get to T5, like max buildings, max tech, just there, I think that you would see a healthier ecosystem within the game overall. But I'll do a deep dive on that later. You'll never be able, we already did T5, limiting collection of resources, particularly of gemstones, to T5 to fight with T5 is at S1. Gathering resources, building upgrade times, speed ups, watchtower, and rally harp is the biggest problem for free to play. The raw power gap, probably getting into strong alliance and getting high amounts of merits. Gems limitations, it's good in some cases to avoid farm boss, but I would like the devs to limit events that use gems, like to unlock heroes or to spend up the policy tree, because it's very easy for even low spenders to have gems. It's hard to keep up with players like those. T5, haha, it hurts to beat T5, not getting in good alliance and not able to go good merits in war due to low power. Hero T5, I mean, pretty consistent. Okay, last question. Is there anything you would like to see changed, added, or removed in the game for free-to-play? A higher weekly gem gathering cap would be nice. Currently, it's 1 hour, 15 minutes of gem gathering per day. Something closer to 2 hours to 2.5 hours would allow free-to-play to have more gems to spin the wheel and contribute to T5 unlocking artifacts. Okay, I like how this person brought some data with them. Oh, I can always respect that. Infernal Flame in all tiers of the artifact compendium at the end of the season. This really the only way for free-to-play to get it. And some people are stuck with Tier of Arbin, which isn't that great. Okay. Get more free healing and make some difficult events where it's pure skill to get a change to win more gold tokens for a hero or unlock the hero, and really change the War Pet talent stars drop rate. Just make whales need to be more active to do things and maybe do an event for free to play only, like people who didn't spend ever to make them an event that is exclusive for free to play, not even people who bought them with $1 can do it. I mean, that's a little aggressive. Please remove that, but I see where they're going, right? If you kind of remove the if you spent money, you can't participate thing, right? But more of like you just can't spend any money on an event, which obviously there is a number of events where you can't spend any money on. Please remove that annoying turrets and bring back barricades. Turrets melt our marches like crazy, while barricades only slow the marches. Also gives us more information regarding new maps. Also give us more information regarding new maps and events early. Change the books and arrows, make them more available, or just straight up lower the amount needed to build. Counterattack damage, what do you want specifically? Add more efficient ways to get treaties and arrows. I mean, that's been, but again, that is coming. We know that's coming in a future update. Cheaper and easier to get teleports. Spenders get a lot of merits and other things just by being able to TP all the time. Time for research. Okay, that's interesting. I actually like this approach, or I like this POV. Time for research, more legendary tokens. The treaties and arrows are too much needed to make T5 accessible for free to play. Now it's either you spend or you can't get T5, so maybe lower the amount needed to make it accessible and therefore make the fights fair. And free-to-play TPs, add free-to-play TPs every week. LMAO, TPs, spending more than 4K gems in every battle is quite tiring for free-to-play, because especially during the middle phase towards the final season, Alliance donations have reached the limit to buy them in the Alliance shop. A power cap for Season 1, and this is a nice way to do this, right, is create a way where once the tech has been maxed, you can still donate, and even if it's just like a maintenance fee, so you can keep getting the coins. right? And that's bare minimum. If you want to do more than that or something else, okay, but that should be bare minimum so you can keep getting alliance points or credits. A power cap for Season 1 and Season 2, which increases over time. Interesting. I'm going to have to think on that. Give more arrows and treaties. Give more items to buy in the Goblin Store with resources. Okay, I actually somewhat would be okay with that, I think. Differentiated healing cost by tier... healing cost by tier power T1 versus T2, T3 versus workhorses. Okay. The only thing I would have liked here is if this person would have detailed how the current system operates, provided some numbers, and then said, this is why we'd like to see the differentiated healing costs. So it's proportionate to what that specific tier is, and like here's the data to support that. Higher percentage rate for getting treaty sentinel arrows, more events where you can get gems, possibility to scrap legendary sculptures. So far so good. I love this game now, and I hope not chance for pay to win event like SOC and Rock. Remove the gem gathering limit that only hurts free to play that cannot spend money on the game and their only source of gems is events, gathering and clanmate spending. Just make it more playable for free-to-plays with more things. We can actually unlock ways to awaken legendary heroes, more legendary heroes like Indus to collect without spending, increase tavern hit rate on legendary heroes, allow new heroes to be in tavern rather than spending on it. This is something I've actually said before, which is that every hero that comes out, regardless if you have to spend on them, you can maybe unlock them as free-to-play in limited events, or if they're just truly gated, every hero should make it to the tavern in chests, or in the gold chests, right? Whichever chest you want to put them in. But after a period of time. So you allow a set period of time for the heroes to come out for specific ones that you're going to make where you have to spend money on them. So you give, maybe you say like 3 months or something. After 3 months, those heroes will go to the tavern, right? So free-to-play can unlock. That's how it should be. It should not be the way it is right now where they're locked forever, right? There should always be a way to gain them that isn't costing you a kidney and a liver. And I think if you do it on like a time way, it's a way better way to do it than if you say, okay, right, we'll just put them in some kind of event where you have to spend a bunch of gems to unlock, right? That's actually kind of really where my thinking has evolved on this now. Because that way the people that spend still get to utilize those heroes for at least one season, right? Which is the season they come out in. And then after that, they get added to chests, right, for that season, once you get to that season. So you're still time locked or season locked by the time you get there, but free-to-play can now enjoy it once they arrive. Best of both worlds. Faster ways to grow power and gain RSS free-to-play. Battle simulation system, more events. Okay, remove the cap for gem fatigue and make spinning the wheel. You know, it's interesting because I really am starting to kind of get behind this, like removing the gem fatigue thing and just allowing for people to gather however many gems they want to gather. And I want to make a separate video talking about this and my thought process behind it. Tax about send resources. I mean, I still like the tax. I still like the limit if that's what they're referring to on resources, because that really impacts RSS sellers a lot. Events specifically targeted at those below tier 5. No, it's good. I think reduce the upgrading time a little bit and easily get the rally harp and watch tower tokens, get gem farming limit increase. Pets should be less pay to win and less random. New heroes should move to Golden Tavern after some time, especially strongest Lord heroes. Artifacts should be easier to get. Counter damage is very unnecessary in PvP. It encourages no skills at all to the CoD player, especially T5 players who just bring their march and just AFK in front of T4 players waiting to be attacked while they're offline and returning back with more merits. So this is something that I've talked about a lot more. If they removed counterattack damage, which I absolutely think they need to do, this is something where I would almost say now, like, again, you could have someone who has T3 troops crush a T5 player if the T5 player, and let me put an asterisk here, if the T5 player isn't paying attention, right? Because if there's no counterattack damage, then you're just hitting the troops for free. Yeah, it may take a while to kill the troops, but you could technically kill the troops. And that's why I think it's important that there is no counterattack damage. You need to be online, active, clicking on your unit to attack another unit. And if you're getting attacked by other units, you're taking free damage. There shouldn't be any of this counterattack damage or what's that other word? Recoil, like recoil damage, right? There shouldn't be anything like that. I actually think that would make the game a lot better, and without a doubt, it would raise the true skill cap. Time for resources. Unlocking T5 should be reduced specifically. Rally, treaties, and tower arrows. Gem gathering fatigue. Box of blessings. Event nerf. Add a daily box limit. Cost free to play around 750 arrows per season. Removing gem fatigue. A way to get a lot more arrows and treaties. Add more free ways to get elixir. Add more free ways to get coins. We can get coins with buy them in store or sell pet talents. More ways to get treaties. More focus on free healing than RSS healing. I think that's an absolute. I think they need to revert back to what the free healing was and then even potentially look to increase it by a small percentage and then assess and continue going forward, right, on where to go forward from there. I just want to see if there's some stuff here. Here we go. My suggestions for things that need to be changed. Daily login VIP universal hero token can be used for all heroes. Make it easier to get legendary artifacts. My suggestion regarding what needs to be deleted. Towers are very painful, especially when destroying a level 1 to 6 tower that is close to each other, even though it is carrying 5 types of troops. My suggestions for something to add. Added interesting events so that players don't get bored quickly. Add events for free to play. Okay. I just want to see if there's any other things. Here we go. I would reduce the number of heavily wounded units in battles against higher tiers. Battles themselves could be more engaging if players with lower tiers didn't fill up their hospitals after just 2 marches from the city. I mean, yeah. I would slightly increase the daily VIP gain for logging in. I think 73k per year is a bit low compared to VIP level requirements. I would make it easier to unlock heroes from the strongest lord feature for everyone. Heroes like Hostility could remain exclusive. I understand that it gives those heroes added value. Here we go. Right, 1, if they add more free-to-play events to allow us to get more rewards from it. If they remove the gem fatigue, limited 1,000 weekly, maybe make it 5k. I just say again, I'm starting to get on that boat now where it's like they just need to remove it completely. If they give us more VIP legendary tokens as a free-to-play, we can't reach VIP 14, so it gives us 2 heads in VIP 12. If they add new epic heroes to that are valid in open fields or new gatherers. If they increase the arrows drop rate. If they fix fort treaties drop rate. It all depends on damage percentage, and free-to-play doesn't have that much damage. Duo forts are harder for free-to-play, so it's always give 1 treaty for 150 CP. If they limit the number of purchases that someone can do so a player didn't turn into a monster in 2 weeks. If they stop nerfing free healing and replacing resource healing that they did this season. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, that's it. I didn't realize it was going to be over 46 minutes at this point. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was a lot, and I'm starting to realize now when I do this, if I do this again, I can basically search for maybe some of the more organized and formatted posts, and then, like I said, I'm going to see, friendly reminder, going to see if I can actually put a link to this in the description, pin comment down below. So, in short, if I was able to figure it out, you'll see one there. If not, then, again, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I think there's a lot to take away here, and I think there's a lot of good conversation points that we can start, or conversation starters from the data that we've seen here so far. And hopefully when I do one of these next, we can try and get over 100 responses. But again, for those of you that contributed, thank you so much from the bottom. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, how humbled I am to get this amount of people that we saw with responses, the amount of people that engaged, pretty much nearly 100% engagement rate across the majority of the questions that we asked. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.